Welcome back. We back with another one. Another episode of One on One. Me and Rel took a little week off. We had our fall break in school, just relaxing and everything. But it's been a crazy day in the NFL, and I couldn't wait to get back and talk to bros. How you feeling?
Oh, I'm getting over a cold. That's another reason why we couldn't record for y'all last week.
Yes,
Sorry for that. But we back now. You feel me? Feeling better. Feeling good. You feel me? Fantasy team just clutched up. You feel me? Josh Allen came through for me last night.
Yeah.
You feel me? But somebody else came through for Josh Allen last night as well.
Oh.
I think he just got a nice little gift.
No, he definitely did. We're going to get into it. We definitely going to get into it. I ain't going to lie, but we can start from the top because there's been a big storyline across.
Before we get into it, how you been? You feel me? Like, what's going on? What's going on with Man to Man Jay now,
Bro,
man?
I feel like the past week was cool. Took a little week off to record and just to recollect, you know what I mean, get my stuff right, get school right and everything. But it was just a lot of chilling in the crib, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I was cool. I was in the basement chilling.
Yeah,
me watching sports.
Starting to get cold outside.
Yeah, I'm starting to get cold. Saw my Sixers in the preseason. PG hooping, but now
He hooping,
bro got hurt and shit.
That's very unfortunate. That actually sucks a lot, bro. Not even a Sixers fan, but like I'm was really, really excited to see this team like off rip. You feel me? I just think that we heard Embiid say he wanted to play probably only 50-odd games. You feel me? Not trying to play it back-to-backs. Is that gonna...
Which is smart.
It's smart, but can they still get that top 4 seed if he doesn't? Especially with PG missing at least a few weeks at the beginning of the season.
It's going to come down to how good Tyrese Maxey going to be. Like, if we paid him a max contract, I know without Embiid, we were losing a lot last season, but we did have Tobias Harris. He wasn't really coming through. Buddy Hield got cold and everything. So now it's like not only Paul George, but the Andre Drummond's, the Caleb Martins, the Eric Gordons, like those role players alongside Maxey. If Joel and PG do miss some time, that's going to be like a big important factor to how the Sixers start, because I think how they start is going to be a big thing too. They could be a top 2 seed for at least the first few weeks and just hold on to that. I think they have a better chance of ending the season as a top 2 seed than being a 6 to 8, trying to work your way back up while, like you said, Joel's not playing back-to-backs. PG can miss any stretch of time here or there. He's 34 years old now, so it's going to come down to Tyrese Maxey. Can he give us an all-NBA season of 27 points per game and 8 assists type season?
I like it
too.
Now
that you got Andre Drummond, that's a competent backup too. It's not like you really falling off.
Exactly.
Had a Mo Bamba last season. He wasn't giving it. He wasn't giving it. But overall, bro, I'm just ready for basketball in total. Like, I can't wait, bro. It's been so long, bro.
About to be football. We got back. Basketball about to be back, man.
Everything in effect right now.
It's a lot going on right now.
October's like the best month in sports because I think it's like everything goes on. Like MLB, NHL starting back up.
Don't even get me started on them Phillies, bro.
Oh yeah.
Don't get me started on the Phillies, bro.
Oh yeah, that's another thing I unfortunately spent my last week on. Getting defeated by the Mets was crazy work, especially that game 5.
That game 4. They got 3-1 as the number. They was the number 2 team throughout the whole year.
Yeah.
You feel me? Now, don't get me wrong. The Mets, they're a great team, but like to lose in 4.
By a grand slam, by a Lindor grand slam, bases loaded. Once he did that, I'm like, it's no.
I turned it off after that grand slam. I'm not gonna lie.
It was no coming back. You know, it's crazy because the game 1, right? I was talking to Kev and I was like, I ain't gonna lie. It's like Schwarber had hit the first hit and the Phillies were up 1-0. I'm like, bro, I got a feeling the Mets is just gonna win, bro. I might just put a Mets little money line in on FanDuel or whatever, and I'm like, put a little 100 on there. Obviously, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I should have done it. But like, it was something. I'm just like, bro, Philly, bro. Like, I don't know, bro. We just take our L's. We just
Red October is over, man.
Short-lived. Very
Red October. We went so close to doing it in 2022, so close in 2023, and then now this year we go out after getting the first round buys. Like, damn,
they losing earlier by the year. And I hate the trend.
Crazy.
I hate the trend, bro.
Even like you said, all the sports. You know, we had some terrific boxing matches, especially this weekend. Artur Beterbiev fought Dimitri Bivol for the light heavyweight championship. Controversial decision to some eyes. I think the right winner was awarded, but it was definitely a close fight. Great fight. We keep getting these great fights, so that's amazing for boxing. We actually seeing the best versus the best, and then also we got WNBA finals going on. Like, You know, 1-1 Minnesota Lynx versus New York Liberty. That's a lot going on in October.
That's a lot, bro. October is beautiful. October is very beautiful. A great month.
Let's get right into it though. So I was having a conversation with one of my other friends, you know, off the air or whatnot.
Right.
You know, these NFL holdouts are becoming an even bigger deal than I think they ever were before.
Yes, sir. 2024, yes, sir. Yeah.
You know, we got a lot of different cases this year, whether they got signed or not. These holdouts are like affecting these teams in like their long term, or even how their season is currently going.
Right.
Just tell me, like, how do you feel about these NFL holdouts? Should it be a thing? Should you be able to hold out within, like, you know, season already started or past training camp, past preseason? Like, when do you think that should?
It's a tricky thing because, like, I feel like over the years I've started to grow towards player empowerment. Like, definitely I've been growing towards that because I think over the years a lot of players have been underpaid and haven't got the money that they've worked for in certain years. But I think it's starting to become a little too out of control, bro. Like, we've seen names like Jamar Chase, Hassan Reddick, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Ayuk, like great players hold themselves out and hamper their abilities for when they return to the field. And it's overall, like, especially when the deal doesn't get done, nobody wins.
Right.
Literally nobody wins. Like we saw with Jamar Chase's case, he waited till damn near the end of August when Brandon Ayuk signed his deal to start putting pressure on the Bengals front office.
Right.
I want a new deal a year early. I want a guarantee. I want security. And it's like, I get that, but dude, like, bro, you spent the whole summer training. Right. You threw the whole front office off. Like, but don't get me wrong, if I'm the Bengals front office, have your money. You know what I mean? You're a talent, have your money, but at the same time, you gotta be smart about things too. Like, but it's one of those things where he ended up playing anyway. So what was the holdout for? It wasn't that long for Chase, but still, like, you're just wasting everybody's time.
And like you said, I'm not saying that's the reason they're 2-4 right now, but you can't help to think that's going into that.
Could play a part.
You feel me? You got probably not locker room issues, I would say, but just, you know, things going on behind the scene, like stuff we don't see on the field.
Weird energy.
You know, probably going on. Not even just Jamar Chase. Like, I think this Hassan Reddick case is one of the craziest now. His agent actually left him this past week. He was signed and, you know, talking to somebody else now. They're hoping they can get a deal done soon, but Hassan Reddick has lost $9 million plus dollars just this season from fees, not being able to play, and just not playing, like, or getting your money from game to game, game to game. I think that's probably the most interesting situation.
That's the messiest one out of them all.
Don't get me wrong, like, Hassan Reddick, I do believe he is a good player, you know. I don't think he had to leave the Eagles, but the Eagles didn't want to pay him.
They didn't.
He is I think he's averaging over 10 sacks for the past 4 years. If I'm not mistaken, he has about 52 over the past 10 years. So that's, like you say, he's putting up good numbers. I don't classify him in my book as a top end, but he's definitely that second pair. He's not a TJ Watt, but he is right, in that class under there. So he's a good player. I just hope, he at least gets something, because now he gotta, kind of stand on business at this point. Like, you can't even play at this point. You gotta just wait it out, see how it works. And he's getting up there in age. That's another reason why I'm sure the Eagles nor the Jets want to give him that long-term deal that he might be wanting. 30, we've seen Von Miller still be pretty productive at 35, 36, so maybe he can, have a nice long career, but there's reasons why people wouldn't pay you. Like,
some of those declines are sharp, like they're sharp declines, like they don't come gradually, like year to year.
Yeah,
my thing with the Hassan situation was, like, I feel like starting at the top, the Eagles and Hassan could have both benefited with him just getting a new deal.
Yeah,
like you traded Hassan to clear way for a former Jets defensive end, and Bryce Huff. He hasn't gave you much of anything. He's stealing money, and it's one of those things where initially I loved the Hassan fit in New York. Like, they pride themselves on defense. Much when we talk about Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, like, that defensive side of the ball is crazy, especially when he had Salah. Absolutely. That's what he was known for. So that was a great add-in, but them not agreeing to a deal, and that's the crazy part too. Like, I thought when he got traded, obviously it was a part of the trade. A new deal would be a part of the trade.
I'm surprised, like, how didn't the Jets organization know that he wanted to get paid as well? I definitely put some of that on the Jets. If he didn't want to sign with the Eagles, not saying they're probably I don't know, better team than Jets, but like he would have stayed in that situation if it wasn't for the money.
So he's from Philly, so that's where he's most comfortable.
You feel me? It's not about the team. You know, it's about the money. And I don't know why the Jets traded for him if they didn't know that.
Crazy.
Speaking of Bryce Huff, he hasn't been living up to anything. You feel
like,
me?
Not even any close to the expectations we had from him. Like,
yeah,
it's not even underwhelming. Isn't even the word.
That's what I'm saying. Like you had a pretty good year last year. We like you said, we had Hassan Reddick. He's been coming off 4 seasons of pretty good play. If you can give us 70 to 80% of that, we could live with that. And that's not what they're getting.
That's crazy because it's one of those things where Hassan was one of my favorite players. Like in this recent regime of the Eagles, like the Sirianni Hurts regime.
Yeah.
I feel like Hassan's been one of the biggest players, especially the first year and the second year when he made it to the Super Bowl. It's one of those things where, looking back, they should have just paid him, bro.
I think so.
I think the collapse made them panic a little bit and make them want to change things up. Got a new coordinator in Fangio. I feel like Hassan would have been great in that system.
Yeah,
it's one of those things where, cool, it didn't work out. Then you go to the Jets. That's a whole messy situation because he requested a trade in August when he's been holding out the whole summer.
Mm-hmm.
He requested a trade. The Jets immediately came out and said, we're not looking for a signed trade. We're going to look to keep on working towards a new deal. And now we're in the middle of October, approaching November. Hassan has different representation, which that's already crazy, where you can't switch representations in the middle of a holdout. That's kind of messy, but he did. But now there's new representation of him. They're trying to work towards a deal with the Jets, but the Jets have now given him permission to seek a trade. But it's now you're going to get another trade in the middle of October. Are you even up to shape? Are you ready to play football? Are you mentally prepared for another season?
Training, right? Exactly.
Because whatever team he's going to, that's probably going to be looking to make a push, like a push at the bowl. And it's you got to come in sharp, bro. It's not much time to really kink things out. The weeks are going by. So, and you're losing out on money as well. Obviously, I hope in his new negotiation, whatever he is negotiating, maybe some of that money that you've been missing out on not attending can be made back. Not all of it, but some of it at least. But overall, it's a messy situation. I think he's the worst one out of all. I ain't gonna lie, bro.
Yeah, we might be. But speaking of the Jets, let's talk about some of the big news.
Breaking news.
Davante Adams was traded to the Jets officially for a 3rd-round pick.
Conditional, by the way. Could be a second, I believe.
Yep. Depending on where the Jets stand or in the season.
I think. And is it as much as Davante plays too? His snaps.
Okay.
Could be.
It probably some other stipulations in there.
Another thing, the Jets, they're paying his full remaining salary. So the Raiders are completely off his contract. They don't got to worry about him no more. They get their draft pick in. They start a new era, but a new look for their offense. Not a best look, but a rebuilding look.
Yeah, probably just a rebuilding look. What's interesting, you say that Garrett Wilson is going to be up for a contract.
Yeah.
He's going to be up for a contract, and I know the Jets want to keep Garrett, but so now you're going to be paying Aaron Rodgers top dollar, Davante top dollar, Garrett Wilson top dollar, Hassan Reddick still wants to get paid.
Breece Hall's in that same Garrett Wilson draft class too.
Right. So
he might not get it next year, but he's thinking about.
I think one of those two between Garrett and Breece won't be there next year, possibly. That's a possibility, or within the next 2 years.
With the way things are looking in the backfield, Braylon Allen looks really good though.
Okay.
He looks really good. I'm going to just say that now. I'm a Breece fantasy owner, so I hope we don't see much of that this year. But next year, Braylon Allen, he's only 20 years old. He's young.
Right. Yeah, very young.
Fresh legs. That'll be a good change of look. But for what they have right now, they needed this. Now, I thought that they should have went into the O-line market and see what they can get there. But obviously, what they did with Aaron Rodgers last year, you made that investment. You got to maximize on his comfortability. Who else is better than the man he's been playing with for 6, 7, 8 years in Green Bay? I thought this move was a year too late now. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers' Achilles injury last year pushed things back. They had to deal with Zach Wilson, and that whole last season was a mess. But now you bring in Davante Adams, you put that alongside Aaron Rodgers. Right. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to lie. With Jeff Ulbrich as the interim head coach, it's only a 1-game sample size, but they came out better last night than usually. Offensively, I feel like they came out with more pop. They came out with more of a point to prove to show that, things are messy right now, but we're what you guys were saying about us. I don't know.
I will say. Sure, you could give it that, but I feel like that's if we lower their scale. We gotta think. We came into the year saying, yo, this Jets team, they got a lot of talent. We all would have been surprised if we heard, wow, they're 2-4 right now.
It's crazy.
We all was thinking, 11 plus wins. Now we all was saying super team even. You feel me? Now it's 2-4. Desperate to make a move, but I think offensively, at least last night, they got a Hail Mary touchdown.
That was crazy.
That was crazy. But if we put that in context, they only scored 13 points without that.
Right.
So I'm not gonna sit here and say that offense looked up to par.
It wasn't great. It was better. It was better.
But it was better. They got the run game going a little bit. They still got to protect Rodgers a little better. But the run game, Tyron Smith, maybe that's more his. He's a better run blocker at this point in age than pass blocker. But now with just the offense, now who do you think benefits and who obviously might lose some time? Now Mike Williams, Alan Lazard, I feel like those two will probably be pushed to the side a little bit,
right?
Because now you have Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams. I'm not, I don't know who we want to call a better duo than that, but that got to be a top 3 one.
Top three.
That got to be
top five.
Ooh, I mean top 5 a lot. I feel like Devontae Adams in my book, he's still, in terms of talent and skill, like nothing fell off from him. I still think he has that top 5 player ability. We see from Garrett Wilson from past few years and now, like he's a truly special talent as well. Another Ohio State receiver. So can we get one of these high octane offenses now with those two? And how much do you think this Jets offense and team in general will look moving forward?
I think to start from the top to what you said, the people who's going to benefit the most and the least, well, I'll say for who's going to hurt from it, I think one player in particular is Mike Williams.
Okay.
I don't think Garrett Wilson is going to hurt from it. I definitely don't think Alan Lazard is going to hurt from it. I think Lazard is one of the wide receivers where he's going to get in where he fits in. Aaron Rodgers and him, they have enough chemistry to where Lazard is always going to get his 3 to 4 receptions a game at least.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And Mike Williams, they signed him to be that guy alongside Garrett Wilson, but now, especially after the play made last night and what Aaron Rodgers said, I think he's definitely going to be pushed to the side.
Let me talk about that too, bro. Cause
how you feel about that? That was
crazy, bro. Like, and I'm always been on Rodgers for this. He is the ultimate blame deflector. I truly believe that. If we look at the play, if he wants to say Mike Williams wasn't in the correct spot, he should have been closer to the sideline. Boom. Okay, that's the one thing. But the throw was nowhere near the sideline for him to even. If you had to peep, Mike Williams had to stop his whole. He had to stop his whole momentum. He had to stop, come all the way back like it was a punt or something. Like that was a horrible ball, and to put that on him that you threw another game-losing pick. You feel me? I think that's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's what Rodgers been doing his whole career. People have been okay with it. I've always peeped that though. He always manipulates the media the best, bro. Like he makes, like, you feel me? Like,
nah, he's special in his own ways. I ain't gonna lie. He's special
feel
in his own ways. But no, I think Garrett gonna benefit from it though. Like a lot of people talking about Garrett stock going down. I think he needed another weapon in him, like aside him in the receiving game. Maybe now you could maybe throw him in the slot. He can cook against a lot of other DBs that's not number one. So
it's not number one. Yeah,
I don't know. I like Garrett a lot, and I think this is a way for A-Rod to open up more to Garrett. He can open up opportunities. Boom. Garrett right there, I could throw it to him. Not always Garrett in double or triple coverage. You got to make a tough throw. Now it's a Rodgers pick.
Right.
We seen last night the running game got way better. I think that was the best thing that came out in their improvement so far with Jeff Ulbrich. Breece Hall, I think he's going to look very respectful because now defense got to respect the passing game now.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that opens up the backfield for Breece, and you can mix in Braylon out in there too, but mainly Breece in the running game and some Breece receptions too. You can mix a lot of things up now. I want to see how this works. Their first game is against the Steelers this week. Hopefully Devontae plays because I need to see this product as soon as possible, especially coming off the loss last night because now they're 2-4, and honestly, everybody's throwing congratulations and hoorays up, but that record isn't pretty. And the Bills are 4-2, and they've created separation between the Jets rather. So it's going to be, I wouldn't say an uphill climb because now you got the Dolphins and the Patriots, they're behind, but it's tough, bro. It's tough in the AFC.
The AFC in general is probably going to be solid. Now, they have their next 3 games are going Steelers, Patriots, Texans. Now, I say I think they need to get 2 of these next 3.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna let's just lock in the Patriots. At least we want to hope.
Do we want to lock that in though? After losing to the Broncos the way they did. Now, I'm gonna give them the win, but in the sample size I saw Drake made last week, and we're gonna get into that.
Okay.
I like what I saw.
I actually agree with that.
They're a tough team. We could lock in the win, but I wouldn't guarantee anything. Like, let's just assume they do, because they need the urgency. Like, they can't play around with anybody. They can't play with their foot anymore. So
I agree.
I'm gonna give them the win, but just watch out. I'm gonna say don't put it past the Jets to lose that game.
The week after that, they're gonna have to play the Texans. That's also gonna be a tough one.
That's a tough one.
And then, but next week, like the very next week, they got the Steelers.
A new look Steelers team.
New look Steelers, you feel me? And we can just go right into that.
Right into it.
Russell Wilson will be has been getting first team reps at practice and is preparing to make his first start of 2024 season against the Jets in Week 7. Do you think this was the right move for Pittsburgh?
Now, you know me, bro. And our podcast is this. We've been going back and forth about Justin Fields and Russell Wilson.
Right.
This offseason, the two worlds kind of collided because they still signed Russell Wilson and traded for Justin Fields. But I will say, though, like, overall in the offseason, everyone knew the pecking order was Russell's QB1. It's just the calf injury he was suffering. They didn't want to force him out there. And you traded for Fields anyway, so it was just a good slot for him to incorporate him out there, get his confidence up. So if you need him down the stretch, then maybe he can come out with a better look. But overall,
or if Russ got injured, he fills the shoes, like, the solid backup, right?
Or if another team starting quarterback went down, maybe they could feel a little bit more confident about calling Pittsburgh for Justin Fields if Russ is fully incorporated, and we might not see any Fields anymore.
Right, because he was only signed to a 1 year, or Russ only had,
they're both on 1 year.
Right.
But overall, it was the right move, bro. Like, I do want to see Russ with this Pittsburgh team to see if he can give him more offensive juice. I will say that's something that Fields could have been better at. Like, they were against bottom feeders when they were playing them. They were maintaining it with their defense and with low score games, but you saw them against good teams when good teams were scoring on them, like the Cowboys. We don't even know the Cowboys are a good team right now, but better teams, I guess, better than bottom feeders. That when they went to go score, the Steelers couldn't match them, bro. Like, Justin Fields couldn't match their firepower. So I like the new look. Russell Wilson against Aaron Rodgers. That's going to be a game that I'm watching. I'll watch for four full quarters, but overall, it's the right move. How you feeling? Because that's your guy right there.
That's my guy. And I think that this is the right move. Now, don't get me wrong, like, and I do want to say this, like, coming into the season, Justin Fields, he wasn't one of my favorite quarterbacks, to say the least. I definitely think he had his flaws, he had his problems, but this year and this season, he's proven to me that he can be a quality starter or someone solid's backup, for years to come. Like, he's doing, like, a way better job of controlling the ball and not turning it over, right? But with all that being said, we have to put in the context of what the Steelers already had. Right? The Steelers right now, if you stick with Fields, in my opinion, you stay in that same boat that you've been in for the past few years. You'll get to 9, 10 wins, but the offense still can't get you over the hump to beat you a good team in the playoffs. Like, I'm seeing with this team, first round exit all over again, or even a collapse and not making a playoff. I think with Russ becoming the starter, becoming the head snake, that just gives the offense a higher ceiling and the team a higher ceiling. Russell Wilson, I think we all can agree, is a better passer. He's been more of an efficient passer throughout his career. We've seen him without, great defenses carry teams to playoffs. You feel me? Past the last 5 years in Seattle, when there wasn't no Legion of Boom, Russ was, putting up MVP numbers, 30-plus touchdowns, in a lot of those years. We've seen that with Russ. We've seen what he can do with a number 1 receiver in George Pickens. Now, George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth, even Calvin Austin to an extent, I think we can start seeing what they can actually look like with Russ at the helm. I think, like I said, we'll lose a little bit of that scramble ability from Justin Fields, make a play and, run out the pocket. But the thing with Russ, he'll run, but he's not looking to run.
He can do a little bit of that.
He'll get out the pocket, but he's looking upfield, trying to create things down the field rather than trying to get the first or get a few yards rushing the ball. Russell Wilson at the helm is I think puts this offense at least in what I'm imagining, just at a higher ceiling. Like with Russ, I feel like you can compete with some of those top teams a little better than you could with Fields.
I agree. I feel like for what we've seen from Fields so far, like he's been decent. You know what I mean? He hasn't been a disaster. The experiment's been pretty well for what they originally expected and the price you gave up for him. But now that you have Russ in the helm, more of an experienced quarterback, more of a veteran in there, I think that fits more to what Mike Tomlin's vision is. Getting a veteran in there to calm everything down, give the offense more structure, and have the defense go out there on the other end and create more opportunities for the offense. So they can capitalize off that. I feel like there's been a lot of times where the defense made big plays and Justin Fields couldn't really make the most of it or maximize those opportunities that he was getting. So now that you have a more experienced quarterback under the helm, like you said, I think they're ready to make a push in the AFC North to win their division because they've been having teams that's been getting hot like the Ravens, the Bengals. They're going to start figuring out. The Browns, they're probably an afterthought at this point at 1-5, but the Ravens, they've ever since they started off their season a little slow against the Raiders and the Chiefs, they're looking to really change things around, and I think the Steelers, they're competing. The Steelers are always going to be in the talks of being in the hunt of the playoffs, but no, I like the move. I can't wait to see it. My take is not going to be fully formed from next week because we need more of a sample size from Russ, like we've seen 6 weeks of Justin Fields. So I'll wait a little longer, like probably in the next month for him to be in rhythm, be in the groove of things, see how the cast is feeling. But overall, I think it was a better move. I like the Russ move.
I think it's a good move. And, the Steelers are ranked 26 in offense right now, but they're 4-2. You feel me? That's like essentially what's been going on for the past few years. Now, like I said, I want to give all the credit to Justin Fields, to keep us afloat. Not even afloat. He's winning these games.
Gave you some cushion.
He's giving us a run to where, we can make the playoffs and, keep it going. It's not like he easily could have went 2-4 and our season could have been over. We could have been looking down, but he did a really good job of getting us to 4-2. If Russ' calf injury keeps on lingering, at least we know we have Fields who can run the offense, who can do a little bit of everything. You feel me? But I just think that the ceiling is capped with Justin Fields at the quarterback position.
I believe that.
That is my opinion.
I believe that.
But we can go ahead and move on to the next blockbuster trade.
Some more breaking news out of Buffalo. The Buffalo Bills have finalized a trade centered around star wide receiver Amari Cooper. They're sending out a 3rd and a 6th round pick, coming off the big Monday Night Football win in New Jersey against the Jets.
Right.
How we feeling, bro? How we feeling? Josh Allen got the new wide receiver 1. Now, I want to start off with this. Is this an upgrade over their wide receiver room? This time last year when they had Diggs at the helm, leading the way at least.
Is this an upgrade? Okay, that's a good question. I think number one, what we have to look into the offensive scheme. If we remember, was it Ryan Dorsey? Was that who was the offensive coordinator last? Ken Dorsey.
Ken Dorsey.
Ken Dorsey. Yeah. He's the new one, right?
That's the new one.
So
they had one last year. They fired him.
Yeah. So throughout the first 9 weeks before Ken Dorsey became that guy, Stephon Diggs was putting up, his regular numbers essentially. They made the trade the change, and now I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to take some pressure off of Josh Allen.
Right.
They were doing that at the end of last year where his rushing totals and James Cook's rushing totals was going up. Same with the beginning of this year. I think with this move right here, this gives Allen that chance to really become more of that, like a better version of that. I think to start this year off, there hasn't been a lot of separation from his receivers.
Right.
If you look at it, Dalton Kincaid is their leaving target guy, receiver.
That's his top guy in the receiving game.
All that. And a lot of plays are being made from either James Cook's runs or Josh Allen scrambling out the pocket, making a play after, the play is already broken down.
Right.
It's not enough just step back, drop back, and throw to open dudes. You feel me? A lot of dudes aren't getting separation with their current receiving core. I think Amari Cooper, what he does, he gives Keon Coleman now you can go against the number 2 corner.
Right.
Maybe you can move you in the slot. Let's see if we move you around. Let's take the pressure off you of trying to beat Stephon Diggs, and let's just make you Keon Coleman. Let's see what you could do. Amari Cooper, if he's not a top guy, he's definitely in that next slot. That next slot. He's a good receiver who can create separation for Josh Allen. I think this offense only goes up with Amari Cooper.
I like that. And honestly, I like how they had a split time between trading Diggs in the offseason in April and now making a move for Cooper to where in that middle time they were empowering their guys and Khalil Shakir, Curtis Samuel, like you said, Keon Coleman as well. Even guys like Mac Hollins in their depth chart. Mm-hmm. I feel like all of those guys were getting opportunities to where they had stretches to where, damn, they were getting treated like the wide receiver one. Mm-hmm. Especially Khalil Shakir. I feel like having him alongside Cooper now and also Kincaid, you put everything together and like you said, with Keon Coleman.
Yeah, that looks like a solid core.
That's a solid core, bro. I think it's better than last year, bro. I'm not going to lie. I think they have more structure, but it's also not an indictment on Diggs, too. Like I said, I think they just have more structure overall. Yeah. They want to use Josh Allen in a different way. They want to empower the rushing game and James Cook. Right. Shit, last night you seen his backup Ray Davis. He was getting empowered, too. He looks pretty nice.
Absolutely.
Ty Johnson, they have pieces, and I'm not going to lie. If it's any year for the Bills to get it done, it's this year, but they got some competition. They definitely got competition.
Yeah.
But I'm looking out for the Bills, bro. I think this was a great move. On the Browns end, we already know they're calling it in as a season, in my opinion. They're 1-5. They're in a tough AFC North.
Yeah.
Not much you're going to bring back. You have Deshaun Watson, the worst contract in the league, in my opinion. I think it's one of those things to where, I mean, for Cooper, the writing was on the wall. I don't know if you knew, but like during the whole Brandon Ayuk saga, there were rumors about maybe the Niners trading Ayuk to the Steelers and then using those picks in the package to get Cooper from the Browns.
Okay.
And then when the report came out, Amari Cooper, I'm not going to say it was tied to that, but the same day he put something on his story saying, I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind it. So the writing was already on the wall where he felt like he was going to be out of Cleveland sooner than later. And honestly, I think they just need to change a lot of things up now. I do have David Njoku on my fantasy team, so I will be leveraging a lot of trade talks this week personally. But overall, just mail it in for the season, bro. Like, we all knew what it was going to be. They were tough last season. I really liked their team last season when they had Joe Flacco in their helm. Even after Chubb went down, he's going to be coming back soon. So I'm definitely interested to see what his usage is going to be.
They're definitely going to start pounding the ball a little more.
Right.
Hopefully take some pressure off Deshaun Watson, but
it's
it's just
not
hard.
encouraging over there. It's not encouraging
hard.
over there.
You could argue that, I think with this Bills team, this if the Chiefs number one, the Bills top three, I think they get exactly what they needed. I think now I say they could use another pass rusher or a linebacker because they're also dealing with Von Miller injuries, Matt Milano injuries, things on the defensive end. But offensively, I think this puts them back at, that high level, because throughout this year a little bit, we've seen stretches of, that high octane offense of the past few years, but there's also been some lulls when, where not even turning the ball over, just getting a lot of 3-and-outs, can't move the ball, can't even get a field goal range for Tyler Bass. I think this helps them out, just, moving the ball more, getting more first downs. Like you said, creating more separation on the outside where Dalton Kincaid don't got to get 10 targets again, Even though he's a great tight end, now we can, Curtis Samuel, now you got Khalil Shakir and Amari Cooper. Maybe you can eat more because they're going to be creating space for you. So, all in all, I think this makes the Bills, if in my opinion, the top 3 team in the AFC.
I think they're two, bro. I think they're two. Well, you can have the debate whether we all know KC is at 1. Gotta give it to them.
I would say the Ravens are still going to be, right there. They're still pretty scary to me.
I think my preference, I will put them at 2. They've been really hot the past weeks. I'll put them at 2.
They're really
I feel
scary.
like Buffalo, they slowed down against the Texans. They barely beat a Jets team that wasn't.
Right there. Those are my top 4 teams. The Ravens, Chiefs, Bills, Texans. Now
Texans got to be behind them, though, I feel like.
The Texans did beat the Bills, though.
They did. But,
and that offense is moving a lot. Now, Nico obviously went down, but, I think that Texans team is scary. Those are my top 4 teams. I think one of those teams make it out the AFC.
Sure.
Hopefully the Steelers do, of course. But,
hopefully,
if we're being a little more realistic, those 4 teams I think are the powerhouses in the AFC. You got the top 4 quarterbacks, I would say, in the AFC, all right there, as in Josh Allen, Lamar, Mahomes, CJ Stroud. Like, I think this move for the Bills, this puts them right where they want to be.
So we gonna get into them a little bit, but do we still got any faith in the Dolphins? It's still a long way to go into the season. If Tua come back in the next couple of weeks, they can make something shake. But it's starting to look, it's looking a little rough. Now I do think they can make the playoffs still.
It's definitely not over. You know, like you said, the year's still young. I gotta see Tua come back because Huntley, even though he's been a Pro Bowler or whatever, I don't think
most Mickey Mouse Pro Bowl,
Mickey Mouse Pro Bowl,
most Mickey Mouse Pro Bowl.
But I think that he can. I think they need Tua, and I think if Tua isn't able, hopefully, he gets healthy. Hopefully he gets healthy and is able to come back. But if not, they start to look in the draft for another quarterback because it's seven quarterbacks in this upcoming draft where the Dolphins can choose from.
It's okay and where to stay in Miami.
Okay.
But if that's the case, like not to get too off topic, how you feel about Reek's future in Miami after the season?
I think
that should be a question, bro.
That's definitely questionable. I never thought about that.
Should be up there a little bit.
He got paid the highest amount of money. If he wants to leave, you think a lot of other teams want that salary? Don't get me wrong, Reek is still that guy, but he's not young no more.
Right.
He's in his 30s.
If I'm a team that needs that needle mover, I'm making that move. There's gonna be some teams in the market looking for a wide receiver upgrade this offseason. Obviously, we don't know what team that's gonna be yet, and we're speaking into the future. But that's something that I'm monitoring that. Like I'm looking out for that for the Dolphins. If they don't really make anything work this season, they're looking to shake things up this season. I think it's gonna be the year.
You think it's that time?
It's time, bro.
It's time.
I had a few years to make things work. Unfortunately, injuries prevailed, especially to Tua. But I'm open to a different look if I was a Dolphins fan. I'll say that for sure.
Okay. Well, we can just get into it, and we can since we already talked about the Bills and Jets, we can just move backwards from there.
Right.
Do you want to? We can go right into Sunday night. The Bengals defeated the Giants, 17-7. Little sleeper of a game. I had this on, but wasn't too exciting in terms of scoring action. I think
terrible Sunday night matchup in my opinion. Like the Giants, I like the Bengals, but. Not the Giants.
The Giants, man.
They were competitive though. It was
very competitive. The kicker missed 2 kicks that terrible, I think changes the game. Either one of those changed the game. You feel me? But I think the Giants they're gonna need probably to rebuild.
Yeah.
I think like I just mentioned, 7 quarterbacks that are solid in this upcoming draft. I think the Giants do go with that. Now, I don't know what you're going to do with Daniel Jones. You did pay him, but it's not like you paid him Dak money.
Yeah.
You feel me? You can get off that. It's still a kind of a bad contract, but it's not a Deshaun Watson contract.
It's not a Russ Denver contract.
You feel me? It's not
to defend him, but that was a lot of money.
Understandable. But I think they're going to have to move. Now, Malik Neighbors, we see him and the Daniel Jones connection was pretty good. Crazy. He should be coming back this upcoming week, but... Yeah, man. Bengals just did what they had to do.
They got it done. It was close. Chase Brown, he ended up getting that touchdown late, and that was all she wrote. I mean, overall, like you said, like the Giants, I feel like this season's been a little different. Like they haven't been getting pummeled like they do usually, but they stay in the games. They just don't know how to win. They literally don't know how to win. But I think the bright spots with them is definitely the defensive line. They're still
that deal. Yeah, Dexter Lawrence,
Kayvon Thibodeau, he's currently on IR, but Dexter, like you said, Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns from the Panthers. They've been getting it in. They've been doing their thing. I feel like Tyrone Tracy, the running back, he's definitely been emerging.
He has definitely more upside than Singletary.
For sure. Singletary.
I think they should just go with Tracy, honestly.
I think they should. Singletary is one of those running backs where you know what you're going to get out of him.
Yeah.
I feel like he is what he is at this point.
He's a solid RB2.
He's definitely a solid RB2.
Especially in 2024.
I think the other wide receivers like Wendell Robinson, he's had his moments.
Wendell Robinson is definitely solid. Like you said, this is a solid, I don't want to say solid team, but
it's
they have
infrastructure
pieces.
to build on. It's something to build on.
And then with Brian Dable, good coach, you feel me? I think that's probably what's keeping it all together.
Right.
Obviously over his tenure there, they've made a playoff. They just look better as an organization rather than probably past few years before Daniel Jones, before Dable. That was nasty.
Yeah.
That was nasty work. But even though they're probably not a great team, Dayball makes this team at least be competitive.
And I don't understand, bro. Like in the really early in the season, I was seeing some comments from the Giants fans talking about whether they should can Dayball. I'm like, bro, like
no,
y'all like. And that's another thing about NFL, like in this NFL overall, like people like it's such a what have you done for me lately league.
Yeah,
like Dayball. Obviously, looking back at it, was the Giants making the playoffs really that good for a long-term outlook? Not really, but it kind of was because it showed you a little preview where a couple years of competent moves and building an infrastructure could get you to possibly a Super Bowl. Now, they won a playoff game too. They won in Minnesota. Right. They got them now. They got mollywopped in Philadelphia. And we definitely not gonna talk about that. But overall, them just having that playoff taste, I feel like that was just big for them. But if they can get another quarterback in there, not saying that they can make anything shake next year, but maybe you can get off of Daniel Jones, find a replacement for him, build on a quarterback that can give Neighbors the ball. Mm-hmm. Maybe if you don't like Tracy enough, maybe you can go get another running back in either free agency or the draft. These running backs are going for nothing these days. Like, for example, Joe Mixon just went for a 7th in the offseason. Right. The Texans, they got him for free, basically. Essentially, and now he had one of the most rushing yards before he got hurt. So it's one of those things where, I don't know, they could definitely build going forward. I don't really see them doing much in the division for the rest of the year. I thought they were going to be a scare to the Eagles. I think the Giants are definitely locked to finish number 4. I think the Commanders. We're gonna get into the Commanders. You gotta worry about. They fighting with that, but
Commanders, you gotta worry about.
I'll say this: the Giants, they're definitely improving. Speaking about the NFC East, bro, from an Eagles perspective, I love to see this. Detroit Lions winning Big Dallas, gave them a spanking, bro, 47-9.
This was like, I would say, the craziest game of the week.
That was crazy.
Just because of the magnitude. Like, we remember the Lions-Cowboys game from last year. Very controversial ending, a lot of people would say. But very competitive, close game.
That was for the second seed.
If you seen this, you would be like...
Nothing like it. Nothing like it.
Not even very close, confusing. Man.
But overall, I think they're showing that, like, Dallas is taking a step back this season. Now,
I agree.
Some of this is out of control with the injuries they suffered. Yep. Different pieces of the defense, from Trayvon Diggs, Micah Parsons, even Dexter.
I can't give it all on that. Like, bro, they easily could have scored more than 47 too. I think they definitely shoot it.
They was playing around at the end.
Yeah, well, like, bro, the same dudes, whether it's Micah or not, y'all gotta tackle better. Y'all gotta block shit better. Like, the Lions moved all over the Cowboys. Like, I wasn't having this game on. I had 2 other games on. But every time I looked up, literally the Lions were in the red zone. Literally every single time, bro.
That shit was too easy for them. Overall, I'm glad the Lions went there and made a statement. Like, yo, we got y'all, bro. Last year, don't get last year confused. Them refs, they helped y'all get that win. I ain't gonna lie. It was some chatter too. Like, I don't know if you saw Amon-Ra and Jordan Lewis. That whole element was crazy too. But overall, I mean, shit, we talk about these AFC teams making a move. Can Dallas finally make a spark? And not even ask for another wide receiver, because I don't think they really need much in the passing game. They could address that, but like their rushing game, Rico Dowdle, they're talking about they're saving Ezekiel Elliott for the playoffs. I don't know how much of that I believe.
Whatever
you gotta get there. You gotta get there first, but
whatever that means.
Overall, it's just trotting out the same product every year. Paying your guys when they're not getting it done, and I'm not saying that they don't deserve any money, but it's just the same thing year after year with the Cowboys.
I wouldn't have paid Dak that contract.
I might have, yeah.
But the Lions, this is a serious team. I mean, we knew they were serious coming into this league. Year they were serious last year, but I think if for right now they are the number 1 team in the NFC. In my book,
I would agree. I think everybody else that we had in those conversations earlier in the year haven't shown. Overall this year, haven't shown consistency. And honestly, like early in the year and during September, like teams like the Niners and the Eagles that show their flaws, they could have some games where they're not looking as good, but now you are what you are. Yeah. So you got to give it to the Lions. They've been getting it done. They had a big win against Seattle a few weeks ago at the crib, where that was a shootout. They survived that. And overall, like you said, they're number 1 in the NFC, and they should be looking back to avenge that last year NFC Championship, because they went out bad. So they should have been in the Super Bowl. They should have been the Chiefs-Lions Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree.
But overall, like, it was a big win, but it did come with some L's for Detroit, because now they're expecting to not have Aiden Hutchinson for the rest of the year with a broken, I think it was a fibula? Tibia. Yeah. So that was a big loss. Hopefully, I hope they can address that. I hope they can address that need. Now, some people have been throwing out, like Dan Orlovsky of ESPN. He was throwing out some crazy names yesterday, talking about that they should target Myles Garrett and Max Crosby. That's not realistic, but honestly, what's stopping them?
Max Crosby is more realistic than Myles.
You think so?
I think that's more realistic.
Teams is not out here trading defensive ends like that.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. Like, I mean, I think personally, they're the perfect team to get in on the Reddick sweepstakes to see if there's any interest there. I would definitely pay him what he needs, because I think if you bring in Reddick, I don't think your defense skips much of a beat. And honestly, Dan Campbell, when they lost last year's NFC Championship, he said, "Yo, this might have been our only shot And this year, if you could create another opportunity for you to get there, capitalize the window because you never know what comes with this NFL stuff year after year,
injuries, bro. You got to start paying dues soon.
They locked
up Montgomery Gibbs. You don't got to pay for another year as well. So they doing it right. But just to move on, Falcons defeat the Panthers. No surprise there.
The Panthers are just back to being the Panthers now. I know that the Dalton starting and the Bryce benching, it gave them a spark for like a week or two, but it ran out of juice quick. I'm not gonna lie. And overall, I don't think they should play Bryce another snap. They got to get rid of him, bro.
Falcons, one of my favorite teams, continue to prove that they can compete this year. I think they're a top 5 team in the NFC, and they could be a spoiler. This year's playoff. I'm not gonna say I'm believing in Captain Kirk, but
what they did in week 2 to my Eagles, I fully believe that. I think they're, like you said, they're competitive. They stay in games. They address their defense with big moves, like Justin Simmons and Matthew Judon, those names. So on both sides, they've been impressive. Overall, they've been getting it done, and hopefully. Do you think there's any chance they win their division? We're gonna talk about the Buccaneers and all that.
They can, and I think they can. Just the Steelers defeat the Raiders.
The Raiders, I mean, we was going to talk about this before the trade, but that's been a crapshoot, rebuilding situation. I mean, so how do you feel about, because a lot of things I've been seeing on Twitter is, fans deflecting that on Antonio Pierce. How do you feel about him so far as the full-time interim head coach? I think last year, after they fired McDaniels, that did give him a spark with having AP there, having a new coach in there. They went into KC, got that dub on Christmas. That was a big win, but this year, things have been still a little bit. You
got to think. A lot of the teams that, fire their coaches or, replace their coaches midway or at the end of the year, they're probably not that great of a team.
Right.
Now, I think we have to give Pierce a little bit of slack for that. No one thought they were going to be, this contender this year.
I wasn't thinking that.
But maybe they, we thought they would have been a little bit more competitive, especially after being Ravens early on in the year. We thought, okay, maybe this is a team. But, you still, at the end of the day, you have Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell at your quarterback. It's a little little ceiling right there, just
definitely,
to say the least.
Big ceiling.
You lost, Josh Jacobs, the leading rusher in 2022. You just lose Devontae Adams. It's hard to make up for all that. You can't just... Okay, I got a good defense. I bring my culture in. That changes everything. It's gonna take a little bit of time. Hopefully, they don't make a irrational decision soon. But give this team, I'll say one more year, maybe
give them another year.
One more draft goes by. It's a lot of good quarterbacks in this upcoming draft. Match them up with Brock Bowers. Let's see how it could go.
That's why I think they should just sell all their pieces. Sell anything you can this year, bro. Bottom out. I don't think
Max is getting older. You think you should get rid of him?
Thinking about it now, they should definitely consider it. Plus, especially since whoever's trading for him is going to give you a crazy package anyway, bro. So I think it's one of those things where 2025 draft could be the turning point for them. Like you said, you already drafted Brock Bowers. He's looking like he's going to be a great tight end for years to come. So that's already a piece you have. Quarterback and running back, those things are still in question. But if you can nail something in this draft, like you said, rebuilding teams are one generational prospect away from their whole window.
No, absolutely, I agree. It only takes about one draft.
That's all it takes.
And we've seen that plenty of times.
Literally.
Just to move on, the Chargers defeat the Broncos 23-16.
Broncos got their win streak snapped. Chargers got it done.
But the Broncos, we could say. Even the Broncos and Chargers are, playing solid, for that AFC West,
For sure.
Obviously, the Chiefs looking like they'll come up top, but the Chargers and Broncos both got 3 wins. They're staying afloat. I thought the Chargers were going to be a little bit of a sleeper team coming into this game, or this year. I like what Sean Payton is kind of doing with Bo Nix. They're not looking like, maybe a bottom feeder like maybe some people thought. The defense is playing really well. That's really what's been carrying.
My boy PS2 been leading the way, bro.
Hopefully,
best corner in the league.
Hopefully, he's able to come back. He got a little banged up this past weekend with a concussion. Hopefully, he only misses a week. But just give them their shutout.
No, for sure. Yeah, definitely gotta give them the flowers, especially the Broncos. I thought they were gonna have a terrible year, without Russ, and especially with Sean Payton. I didn't think he was the answer for that, but I think it's the reason why he got Bo Nix in the draft. They work together well. Yeah. They gel together well. They got some pieces in there to where, like you said, they're probably not even going to be in competition to even winning division. The Chiefs already got that pretty much nail packed so far. But like you said, they're not bottom feeders, but they're like the Giants. Like, they're respectable.
Yeah,
they're respectable. Like, I wouldn't trash on them. Obviously, like, I didn't come into the year even thinking they were going to make the playoffs, but they are what they are. I'll say the same for the Chargers. The Chargers have been a little better, but like you said, they're in the same circumstance. Like, the Chiefs they kind of ran away with that division title already, so they're respectable. They're not gonna lie, they're respectable. But going into the 1 p.m. games, bro, now I got to cook for a little bit because not for too long, but the Eagles beat the Eagles beat the Browns 20-16 at home. Coming off the bye, fresh dude, new look, especially for Nick Sirianni. He shaved his head. That was the whole, I don't know what that was about.
New look.
New look Sirianni. But overall, bro, I'm still not really that moved, bro.
Yeah.
Like, going back and forth with the Browns out of all teams is just not impressive.
We've seen the Commanders destroy them. We've seen the Cowboys destroy them. Their own division mates, and this is how they play against them.
And overall, the offense still looks a little bit stale. Like, it's the same look every week. I mean, I will say, though, like, a few players that have impressed me, I'm not drawing a blank. It's definitely in the secondary with Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, the rookies. They made some big plays over the weekend. I really like what I saw from them. I hope they could probably be big pieces of our defense going forward and going into next year. But like I said, I mean, I'm going to cut them some slack because both of their wide receivers are coming off an injury, so they probably needed a rhythm week to get things intact. Jalen Hurts get a week of rest and everything. Saquon didn't have the biggest game, but he really didn't need him to anyway. Right. Dallas Goedert got banged up with a hamstring injury, but the Eagles are what they are at this point, bro. Like, I think it's just at this point where I have to lower my expectations. I think I'm still getting caught up a little bit too much in the 2022 and expecting those guys to probably get like a 30 ball every Sunday or something around that range. But they are what they are, and I just hope that coming into November in a few weeks and December and going into the playoff time that things could be changed up a little bit.
I definitely want to see the season's over. I definitely think they still got a chance to get to their aspirations that they want to go to. But this is a team in the Browns. I think you gotta beat up on them now.
Right.
Like I mentioned before, your own division mates put up great games against the Browns. I thought coming into this game that y'all would do y'all thing. You feel me? I even had a little bet on them. You feel me? Saquon sold it. But at the end of the day, I think this Eagles team, they just needed a win.
They needed a win.
You feel me?
They're in the win column, bro.
And getting that win, that could be good things moving forward. If they lose this game, especially in a close one, that looks bad, especially against the Browns too.
Right.
So I think just the win is the most important thing. Hopefully they can gather themselves. AJ Brown, Smitty finally back. At least that connection with Hurts is still looking there. It's probably still one of the better duos in the league. So at least they got that still, and I'm excited to see them moving forward.
And also, indirectly, it was another win because the Cowboys, the Giants, and the Commanders all took L's this week. So it gives us some more cushion. We're moving up a little bit back in the NFC East and we're looking to get that division. All the Commanders fans are looking to take that, bro. Y'all had y'all little run, but things are changing now. We're about to go back to the regularly scheduled program. But going to the next game, this is a weird one, but it was a beatdown. Texans, they beat the Patriots. Yeah. They got it done against that. And Drake May's first start. I thought he started off a little rusty, but that was expected.
He started picking it up. He looked solid.
Overall, he looked good, and it just wasn't. He doesn't really have the pieces to really compete with the Texans team.
No.
They're having DeMario Douglas as your wide receiver one. Ramondre was out. Yeah, Antonio Gibson. That's not really that good of a player.
No. And the Texans, they're super talented. Like I said before, I think this is going to be, one of the better teams in the AFC. I think they're a top 4 team. I think this is going to be someone that a lot of teams are going to have to deal with. And even with Nico out, this team has a lot of potential because you still have 2 pretty good receivers, a solid tight end, good run game. The defense led by DeMeco Ryans is still producing. So all in all, I think Texans just did what they were supposed to do. But like you said, Drake May did impress. I think he should remain the starter, which probably will.
Yes, sir.
And let's just see how they look moving forward. We could go right into the next game. The Colts get a nail biter against the Titans.
Titans are just Will Levis is not a starting level quarterback, bro. Yeah. He's not a starting level quarterback. Free Calvin Ridley, man. I know he just signed a new deal, but free Calvin. Bro, 8 targets on 0 completions is crazy work. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know what the record is. That gotta be pretty up there.
Gotta be 1-5.
We get a new Will Levis meme every weekend. It seems like as well.
Yeah, that's a joke. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, at this point, the Titans are a bit and coaches do what they gotta do. Flacco keeping them afloat, maybe until Richardson come around. But that's what Flacco's gonna do.
Flacco's been doing his thing in these spots, bro.
Premium backup quarterback. You feel me?
He's been doing his thing, especially with the Browns last year. Like, I love the joke that he gave them going into the playoffs last year. Like, obviously they got stomped by the Texans, but going into that, they were going crazy, especially with the defense. But the Colts are somewhere similar, the same. Like you said, Flacco's keeping them afloat. He getting Michael Pittman right. He had a big touchdown the other day. But overall, I mean, I hope they can make some room in that AFC South because things are starting to separate a little bit. But if they can keep on getting wins, then they shouldn't be too far behind the Texans.
All right. Now moving on to the next game, the Packers kind of destroyed the Cardinals. This was a game I wasn't. Now I'm not gonna say I didn't expect the Packers to win, not to win,
not by this
but
much.
like not how they won. Like I think the Cardinals, they kind of laid an egg this week. Just the whole offense in general. They, if I'm not mistaken, committed about 13 penalties offensively. A lot of false starts, a lot of holdings, and you're not gonna win football games just like that. You're putting yourself and Kyler Murray in a difficult spot. You lose Marvin Harrison early, so now you're just behind 8 ball throughout the whole game, and it just wasn't looking good. The defense already isn't good.
I think this is where it goes left for Arizona, though. I'm not gonna lie. Now they've been competitive to start the season. Kyler Murray, he's been having a decent season so far, but now that you have MSJ suffered the concussion, had a bad loss this week, I don't see them really making that much of a push, especially because the Rams. I know the Rams didn't play this week, but to talk about them a little bit, they get Cooper Kupp back most likely this week. I think they're coming out their bye, so they're gonna change some things, and this is a tough game now. On the other side, though, Jordan Love, he been doing his thing. And I'm so surprised that he came back this soon. Like, I don't know, the injury against the Eagles, it looked a lot worse.
It looked a lot worse.
It looked a lot worse than what I thought it was.
But dude, Jordan Love is nice.
No, he's tough. He deserves his contract too.
With Josh Jacobs coming there, I think this is definitely one of my favorite team. That's not a word, but one of my favorite teams coming from the NFC that I think can compete with teams like the Lions and the Vikings. I mean, that division is kind of crazy. You got the Bears, Vikings, the Lions, Packers. That's all teams that could easily make the playoffs. Would that be when was the last time 4 teams from the division?
I don't think any.
Like, is that possible?
It's possible. It's definitely possible.
But they're probably gonna start beating up on each other. Like, you gotta play each other.
You have to play each other, so it's so difficult.
It's gonna be an interesting test.
That's the best division in football. Yeah,
everyone got four wins. That's gonna be very, very interesting to see how that plays out.
Now, real quick, you think at least 3 teams get out of there?
I think 3 teams.
3 teams for sure, right?
I think 3 teams.
You already got 4. If you have 4 so far from every team, somebody got to be the fall guy, but. I don't know.
And I wouldn't even know who to put it on because the offense is looking good. Like,
we're gonna talk about the Bears because they've been looking in the right direction too.
Yes. Shout out my Bears, my Caleb. You feel me? I've said this. Don't get on me. Feel me? Caleb is that guy, and he's looking like it. Let's move on to the next game. One of the more anticipated games. You got Jaden Daniel versus Lamar Jackson.
That was good, bro.
Action Jackson, Ravens versus the Commanders, and I will say it was a pretty good game.
It was a good game. It was back and forth at first, but Ravens, they pulled it out. Zay Flowers, he had a big day. Definitely had a big day. He was more cooking in the first half. I think Terry McLaurin, though, like going to the Commander side, he's definitely proven that, like, yo, he's that guy. I ain't gonna lie. I had my doubts on Scary Terry. I always was like, I call Scary Terry D'Angelo Russell, like deloading. Like, when you ever gonna get scary? When that ever gonna happen? But I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I was too hard on him because now he finally has a competent quarterback, and now you see what's opening up for him.
Like I said, these Ohio State receivers, they're always gonna be solid. If you get them in that right system, right quarterback, I think he's gonna eat. And it's a match made in heaven with Jaden.
Is Ohio State wide receiver you or not?
I think so. I mean, you think LSU? I mean, LSU. You could throw Alabama in there as well.
Yeah.
Those probably the top 3.
Top 3 for sure.
It's a lot of great talent coming out there year in and year out. But all in all, I think that the Commanders, even with this loss, they're still looking like a great team. This wasn't a blowout by any stretch. The Commanders is right there. I think this is the team the Eagles should worry about.
Yes.
And we didn't see that matchup yet. But
I can't wait.
I can't wait
to see against the Eagles because with the way things been looking this season, I have a feeling how it's going to play out. But I don't think that's the best favor of my team. Okay. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. We can move on to this crazy matchup in itself. We got the Buccaneers playing the Saints. They end up winning 51-27.
First off, Troy, if you watching this, bro, this game is the sole reason on why you beat me in fantasy, bro. Baker Mayfield gave him 28. Chris Godwin gave him 35. Bucky Irvin gave him 18. That's a crazy stat.
Yeah.
That's a crazy stat.
It's crazy. He started all three.
It's crazy, but on the actual football product, though, putting up 51 after you put up 27 in the first half, it's crazy, bro. That's like the Buccaneers is hitting strides that, like, I know last season they beat the Eagles and they definitely turned things around with Baker playing better football and them just being more competitive under Todd Bowles, but this season's just been a different, like, yo, they just came out and proved that, like, yo, we're that team. Like, we're that team to beat in the NFC South. We're going to be competitive each and every week. We're going to put points up. We're going to do our thing now. Bucky Irvin, he's looking like he's going to take that RB1 spot now. Did have Sean Tucker in backup. He went for a crazy day as well.
I think
he's going to carve out a role.
Excuse me. Yeah, he's going to carve out a role. I don't think this is going to be a single man or even like a two-man. Like, even when Rashad's back, I think Sean can still. Yeah, I think it's going to be three-man weave. That's what they're going to be going with, and they all got talent. You feel me? I think they all can run. You got Godwin and Evans on the outside who's going to create space for them. Baker's dealing right now. I think this team moving forward is going to be pretty hard to beat, especially for a lot of teams.
But on the Saints end, Olave, he suffered a concussion. That's already a bad zone on top of what you already have with the Derek Carr injury. I think, like the Cardinals, this is going to be a time where they really start slipping now. I kind of do what I like. I kind of like what Rattler I saw from Rattler. I thought it was going to be worse. Now the second half wasn't that good, but I don't know. I thought it was going to be worse.
Rattler wasn't totally rattled.
Yeah,
you feel me? I think he didn't play a bad game for his first game. Carr's going to be out for a few more weeks, so hopefully he can keep them around. Playoff contention. Let's see how long they could do that with him and Kamara.
For sure.
It's going to be a little more difficult without Olave, but I think that defense could get it done. That's still a pretty solid defense.
For sure.
They
had definitely didn't have the best game this week.
No.
Overall, week in and week out, they definitely compete on that end.
I agree. Let's go to that London game. Recap that. Bears.
Now, this is the second reason why I lost to Troy Fantasy. Travis Etienne, bro. First of all, the whole Jag situation is just a Cook situation, bro.
Yeah.
Like, overall, you paid Trevor Lawrence's money over the summer. You gave him a big bet. He hasn't really shown you anything impressive. You have your backfield. Travis Etienne, he's been falling off a little bit. You have Tank Bigsby, he's nice. He was giving to Ernest Johnson, your RB3, some carries. I don't know what that was about. That was weird. You did get Evan Ingram back this game, and he showed like he came out snapping.
He's a top 10 tight end.
He for sure came out snapping, but overall, you're just losing so many games now. They're going to be back in London this week, so I really didn't expect the coaching change. But overall, as much as I love Doug, bro, it might be time.
It might be time.
I think because the way they got beat this week was crazy.
I agree. And it's crazy they got two games in London too. By the way,
right? What we marketing over here?
What's going on with
bro?
that?
Roger Goodell's league,
what's going on with that? But this is crazy to me too. Like, I didn't expect the Jaguars to look like this to start this year. Maybe it's another crazy flip like last year. Maybe they started off good last year, ended bad. Hopefully it's vice versa this year. But overall, I think that they're in a pretty tough situation. Like, the defense still is an elite. You got solid wideouts. So you got solid receiving.
It could be worse. It could be worse, bro. It could be worse. But they got a crazy belt this week now. The Bears on the other side. Caleb Williams had the game of his career so far. He did his thing. They were the DeAndre Swift in the backfield. Even DJ Moore, he had some plays here and there. They had the craziest game, but even Cole Kmet, Keenan Allen.
Like, they got some pieces that we all know. We all knew going into this year, like, that's going to be a nice little three. And we didn't even throw Kmet in there as a receiving core. That's one of the top ones. Especially with Caleb dealing, like, Caleb making plays outside the pocket, big arm. I mean, we're seeing why he was the number one pick. Seeing why I chose him to be my next guy, you feel me? Like, he's still my number two until Russ is done. But this is my future. I feel confident. This is my favorite player.
I feel you now. Overall, how do we feel about the Bears going forward, though?
I think moving forward now, the only thing I would say is division. Like you said, that's their biggest obstacle. They got three other teams with 4 wins. They're probably gonna. Have they played? Who have they played in the division yet?
I think
they got to play 4 more games in this division. I'm sure they played one.
I know they haven't played the Vikings yet.
Have they played Packers?
They played the Titans, the Texans, the Colts, the Rams, and the Panthers.
So no,
and the Jaguars. So no division games. No division games.
So that's what's gonna make or break their season.
The craziest part about this is the next 3 weeks they still don't play in the division. It's past. They have a bye. But after that, it's Commanders, Cardinals, and the Patriots. But then once you start in November 17th, in the thick of things,
it's gonna be a gauntlet.
Yeah, the Packers, the Vikings, the Lions, the Niners, the Vikings, and the Lions again. Ooh. Now, this could be one of those things that where over the next 3 weeks they might start hitting their stride even more. But once we get in November, that is really gonna test them, bro. They have a tough second half of the season, bro.
Schedule.
Their schedule is crazy in November and December, bro. We definitely gonna keep you posted on that, and I can't wait to see how. Because Caleb's getting better.
Right.
And once he sees these better defenses, I want to see how that fares out. Because if he can show what he is so far in his rookie year, that would be crazy. But no, their schedule is, that's a gauntlet right there. If I ever seen one, I ain't going to lie.
All right.
That's a gauntlet.
And lastly but not least, we got the Thursday night game that happened. 49ers win the NFC West battle against the Seahawks.
This was a weird game.
It was a weird game. It was competitive, but I felt the Niners going to pull it out. I never would. I was a little once Jordan Mason went down a little bit.
Right.
Now that I don't think it was a serious injury, but that's something you still got to work out or look at.
I feel like overall, like in the first quarter, the Seahawks, they were definitely hanging with San Francisco. They were doing their thing on both ends, but once Geno threw that pick, bro, it was over with, bro.
That ruined their drive because they had a scoring drive. Even if they don't score there, that's 3. You end up getting 0 there.
Then they had a couple of big DK plays that got called back, and this is like that killed your momentum. I mean, overall, Kenneth Walker had a solid day on the ground. Charbonnet got a little involved too, but shit, on the Niners side, Deebo Samuel came back. He came back alive. I know when he came back from injury, he really wasn't himself, really, but he definitely got back in the groove of things. Ayuk had his plays here and there, but like I said, on the Niners, it was a weird day because now you had your third string running back, Isaac Guerrero. He had a big play.
Yeah,
he had a big touchdown play at the end.
You think he should have scored there? Some people, he said he wasn't trying to score.
I would have scored, bro.
I would have scored.
You don't really, as a third string running back, I mean, he's a rookie, but you don't really get too many opportunities to make a big play like that.
I think you should just score because it's not like they wasn't trying to score. Right. They ended up running it in with Juszczyk anyway.
That's what I'm saying. Speaking about Juszczyk, he had a couple. Yeah, they did have a couple big plays too.
Juszczyk always been one of the top tier fullbacks. You know, he could catch, block, run. He could do a little bit of everything.
I feel like they don't use him enough.
He's perfect for their scheme. I think he's an unselfish player. You feel me? Him, Kittle, they don't mind blocking. Probably you be seeing these dudes block. They love to block.
Bro.
Like, you feel me? And that's reasons why, the Niners year in and year out are one of the better teams. When your star players don't mind blocking, you feel me? That's going to be a good recipe.
How do you feel about the Niners going forward, though? Because they're another NFC team to where, like, I feel like everybody going into the year had them at number 1. Like, the consensus was them at number 1. They were the NFC Championship.
I think they're still very, very scary. Like, if I was an Eagles fan, this would, in my opinion, still be the team I would worry most about. Just because
more than Detroit?
In my opinion, just because
I think so too, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Like just in simple fact that they've been there before. They have that experience. They have their big 3 in Kittle, Ayuk, Debo.
Sir,
you feel me? Now CMC not there.
They gonna be back November though. I don't know how believable that is or what condition he'll even be in.
Knees, I don't know. It's gonna be weird, but I think the defense is starting to pick back up. I think Fred Warner is still playing out of his mind. Another all-pro year for him. I think this Niners team is definitely not a team we should just chalk up and say, okay, they're not going to be good this year. I think they're starting to pick it back up. Just got their 3rd win. Let's see how the rest of the season goes.
It's crazy because I think Brock Purdy having like a quiet, crazy year.
No,
I feel
absolutely.
like he been really going crazy this year.
I don't know why people sleep on Brock. I understand he got talent, but you still got to make good with your talent. That's always been my argument. You still got to go out there and produce. We've seen quarterbacks with talented receiving cores not produce. We've seen quarterbacks with good defenses not produce. So for him to go to NFC Championship, go to a Super Bowl, and hopefully lead his team to another playoff berth, that's a pretty good start to an NFL career.
Definitely solid. And plus, he up for a bag this summer, so I get why you hooping, bro. I get why you hooping. I get why you're doing your thing. I mean, I think they should pay him. They're going to have an interesting 2025. I can't wait to see that because depending on how the season ends this year, they could be another team that's like due for another shakeup. After you paid Brandon Ayuk a $30 million per year bag for 4 years, we definitely make a shake-up, bro.
It's gonna be interesting.
But overall, it was a solid week of football. I can't wait for next week. Things are starting to get. We're starting to get to the thick of the season, bro. Games are starting to matter more. More injuries, unfortunately, but that comes with every season.
That comes with everything, right?
I think the divisions, like the way they're shaping out, like we're starting to get more structure in how it's going to end the season.
We're starting to see who is who. You know, we've got enough sample size of enough games now with teams to see, okay, this team is more of a running team. Their defense isn't as good as we thought it was going to be. You know, things of that nature. We're starting to get in the middle of the prime of the NFL. I would say, that back half is where it really starts to get very interesting.
That's where it matters, bro. That's where it ultimately matters. But until next week, we're going to keep you posted. We're definitely going to be in for a big week 7. I can't wait. He can't wait. Catch up us with all socials, YouTube, like, subscribe, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, and we're going to be back with another one.
Share this to your friend. That's going to share it to your uncle, to your cousin. You feel me? Make sure you get this episode some looks if you enjoy it. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, man.
We out.